This is WCSH TV Channel 6, Portland, Maine. Time now, 6 o'clock.
This is Newscenter 6, a complete report of news, sports, and weather from northern New England's largest television news team.
Good evening, everybody. I am Peter Wiggins. Today with what's happening on Newscenter 6, the weekend report for this Saturday, January 12th, 1980. In Tehran, Iran today said that it would halt oil sales to any country that supports the United States and imposing economic restrictions and sanctions against it. In the northwest city of Tabriz, meanwhile, the government executions of 11 descendants ignited a series of riots by hundreds of enraged descendant sympathizers who ransacked shops and set fire to bank offices in the capital. Rebellion toward Azerbaijan. In Iran, Oil Minister Ali Akbar Manafar, who has quoted in the in Tehran radio, "Our policy is cracked where we will surely cut our oil flow to the country. We will lend our support to the U.S. Economic sanctions imposed on our country." Manafar, a member of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini's Berlin Revolutionary Council, made no direct reference to the U.S.-sponsored resolution before the UN Security Council that would impose sanctions on Iran in an effort to force it to free the American hostages held at the United States Embassy in Tehran. Nor did he mention reports that the United Nations Friday that Iran was preparing some sort of the compromise plan to stave off sanctions. The Soviet Union has pledged to veto any sanctions resolutions, but America has said that it would be trying to enlist its allies in an independent sanctions plan that the UN measure fails. The United States cut off its purchases in an Iranian oil shortage shortly after the embassy was seized by Iranian militants suspended it nearly 11 years and 11 weeks ago. Manafar said Iran's oil revenues are running well above the $1.6 billion despite an almost 50% cut in production since a peak of more than 6 million barrels a day, but during the deposed Shah regime. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Sadegh Ghatabay said a letter to Panama President Aristides Royo formally requested that Panama arrest the deposed Shah Mohammed Reza Pahlavi, according to the official news agency Pars. An Iranian arrest warrant was attached to the letter. Pars said that the letter sent a request for the Shah's extradition to Iran would sent to Panama within 60 days of his arrest. Pahlavi said that he has been living in Panama since December 15 when he left the United States. In Tabriz, hundreds of residents responded to outbursts of violence and an Iranian Revolutionary Guard ordered execution today of 11 descendants and senators were found guilty of a murder and a revolt against Khomeini's Islamic regime, Pars said. It said that they were convicted of creating fear and insecurity, committed arson and arrested against the Islamic Republic armed with clubs and other weapons, and in murder and torture of the Muslims in Tabriz, the city 350 miles northwest of Tehran, on the stronghold of the minority of Azerbaijan's separatist movement. It was not known that the 11 were executed by firing squads like the traditional method used by the Khomeini regime, which reportedly has been executed a total of 722 persons since coming to power 1 year ago. The executions came after the new outbreaks of fighting in Tabriz between revolutionary guards loyal to Khomeini and members of the Muslim People's Republican Party, which advocates autonomy for the region. The leaders of the dissident party went underground after the executions, according to Western reported through Breeze. A guard spokesman said that the retaliation of an attack on Friday, but his forces bombed the party's Tabriz headquarters, hoping to arrest the Senate government and disarm them. There were no reports of injuries or blasts, but in the 3 hours of fighting, there followed one guardsman when the 2 descendants were killed, the spokesman said. He said that the party headquarters were captured, that 30 party members were arrested, and 1 guardsman was taken hostage by party members. Banks and shops and businesses reportedly been sacked and burned in the
first half efficient if you want for payment. Oh yeah.
Week of the fight in the city, 600,000 schools and businesses were reported closed. The spokesman said that also a guardsman was killed in an attack on a group of separatists that had been set up by a roadblock outside Tabriz. He said that about a dozen descendants were arrested after the fight.
Great interception, but Denver gets the ball.
Washington, the Carter administration is lining up behind a program that would substitute gas oil for 10% of the nation's unleaded gasoline supply in 1981, using millions of tons of surplus of grains in the process. That would be a 6-fold increase in the production of gas oil, a mixture of 90% unleaded gasoline and 10% ethyl alcohol or ethanol, a poisonous, undrinkable liquid. Indonesia provided power when it burns the alcohol, increases in the anti-knock property of unleaded gasoline. Gas oil generally costs about 5 to 6 cents per gallon more than unleaded gasoline, but the cost may decline with production improvements. The $3 billion program outlined Friday by President Carter's aides has staked out in the middle ground between a $5 billion gas oil program approved by the Senate and the absence of any such program in the House passed energy legislation. Stuart Azensat, the President's domestic policy advisor, said the administration was not submitting a new legislation for a program, but was supported. The $3 billion figure in the Congressional Conference Committee are already considering legislation that includes the Senate's $5 billion version, the 10-year program program being backed by the Carter would be providing loans and loan guarantees for the construction of small and medium-sized alcohol distilleries to produce additional alcohol that would be blended with gasoline. As it said, told reporters that the administration was not earmarking for the program that 17 million metric tons of grain being withheld from the Soviet Union and reprisal for its military intervention in Afghanistan. But he noted that the supplies were originally intended for Russia to remain in the nation's supply available for purchase by distillers. As that said, the Carter's gas law problems were developed. Seagulls just left steam dumps, and despite the fact that the dumps are rapidly disappearing in Maine by law, the gulls take the land hills just as well. Here in Albany today, this large flock of gulls were having a good time. No do please that there wasn't any snow covered in to interfere with the scavenging activities. New York, silver has become so available that the companies making for the photographic film save all the little bits they punch out of 35mm in movie film. So the film fits into this pocket, save much too valuable to throw away. Said Henry Casca, spokesman for the Eastman Kodak, says that a little punch out, there's no way around it. The price of silver, a key ingredient in both film and the paper in which pictures are printed, is soaring. That is pushing up photography prices on people in the industry. A word when there will be a lot fewer folks lining up to say, geez, for American shutterbugs. People are going to be reluctant to buy a roll of films at products. John Lauer, vice president of Format, instead of buying 4 or 5 rolls a year, they buy 2 or 3. A year ago, silver cost about $6 an ounce a month. The price touched $40 before settling about $30, so its prices are rising for both film and paper. The Kodak's increase ranging from 75% take effect at June 26 for film and a month later for photographic paper. There is little doubt that the offer makers will fall. Kodak, which dominates the industry, winning as a price leader. Amateur photographers can take heart in the fact that the color film uses less silver than black and white, so that the percentage price increases are small per roll than the cost of color film is rising between 15% and 25% of 12 exposure roll Kodak color 2 color print film size 110, which costs about $1.76 in October will rise from the current $1.66 to $2.15, and the Kodak charge for the development and printing the pictures will climb from $5.46 to $5.70 on February 26. A roll of 35mm Kodachrome slide film with 20 exposure will have a just retail price of $3.69, up from the current price of $3.07 from the $2.09 price, and that prevailed in October. And on February 26, the Kodak price for the price of the film will rise from $3.15 to $3.40. Instant film uses even less silver than regular color film prices. The Kodak instant film was just 10%. Polaroid imposed a 6% increase in January 1st, blaming it on the increase in all costs, not just silver. Not really is ready because film sales were disappointed for Polaroid last year. The silver it brought at the relatively low prices was not used as quickly as it's expected. Alan Dury, a Portland spokesman from Polaroid, will not give details, but says we have not felt a severe strain as a result of a silver price increase. Photograph a unique value, says Fred Nakamura, executive vice president of Photofilm USA, a Japanese company that has carved out a segment in the American market. There's no ready-made substitute for the industry has long since taken steps to recover every ounce of silver it can. Kodak says the reading costs about 20 million ounces a year, but still has survived 50 million more. One place that a lot of silver can be reclaimed is a film process, and Laura estimates that Format will recover silver worth about $10 million in 1980, that the price of silver averages up $40 an ounce. Industry research has cut the amount of the silver in film, but has failed to find an acceptable substitute. There is no other material that has been found that can measure silver's capacity to react to the light, said Casca. The photo industry was more than robust in 1979 as
Details of baseball's investigation of Alex Rodriguez, and the only
Merrill Lynch, the Wall Street firm, estimated that U.S. game sales declined to $19.9 million from $20.7 million the year before, while instant game sales fell to $7.2 million for $8.8 million, but film sales rose, and was saying if the people were still willing to use the old cameras.
That he was taking testosterone.
Augusta, the days when women's names called through the whispers of the State House hallways have gone the way of Studebaker sedans in the Augusta House. But one woman's name is being handled about these days as potential candidate for governor. The name is that Mary Adams of Garland Village, who spearheaded its successful 1975 effort to repeal member uniform property tax. State House in Senators aren't the only ones talking to Mary Adams, while 6 Republican presidential candidates debated in Iowa last weekend. The Senate frontrunner Ronald Reagan was on the telephone talking to Mary Adams of Maine. Adams told Bangor Daily Newsman Davis Watson about this week that Reagan had telephoned about 7 o'clock last Saturday night. According to Adams, Reagan said, "This is Ronald Reagan." And she said, "No, you're not. Who are you really?" Reporters who have covered the faint and flappable outspoken Danese who don't stop for a minute. That's what Mary said Reagan raining up. And Adams told Watson for an endorsement in his presidential cabinet with Yankee parsimony. However, she declined right off. She said that she's endorsing everybody yet. Adams also endorsed just rumored that talking of a Blaine House concern for 1982.
More real news.
Adams feels that she needs a crypto campaign about as much as she needs a favor board contended at the poll. Six of these people with never to lose are the people who will make a difference. One thing some permanent Maine Republicans wish that Mary Adams has lost before she won it as the first Nelson A. Rockefeller Award president who at the winning GOP presidential forum last year. Lynn Palmer, who was in the Republican candidate for governor in 1970 and winning a shocking trusted Adams, but aware of that. She ended supporting him in the three-way contest when Senate President Joe Sewell was asked about Adams' award. He compressed his lips so hard that his chin wrinkled. If the main Yankee atomic power plant in Wisconsin was to suffer an incident like the 3 Mile Island of the Russians launch a nuclear attack tomorrow, the Maine Bureau of Civil Emergency Fire, Barron and SPCF has plans to deal with possibly radiation leakage will fall out.
Xfinity, the future of awesome.
Okay, 6 more visits and you'll have your new dentures.
6?
6.
How about 3?
6.
4.
6.
4.5?
As they now stand, however, the plans do not measure up to the needs of Maine residents. Nobody appears more aware of this than BCEP officials themselves. An evacuation plan for Wisconsin residents within 5 miles of the nuclear power plant does exist. There also approximately 130 shelters in the event of the radioactive fallout of a police supply in the Tuscaloosa County alone. The state and local BCEP's don't believe current plans are sufficient enough. They are working on 2 plans to update those. Made years ago, according to the Maine BCEP director Lionel Akel, or Lionel Akel, the radioactive incident plan at the Yankee power plant in Maine will be the first of those 2 plans to go into the effect. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission, in fact, already has the plan, which a state BCEP hopes to see finalized by 1981. Then the new plan essentially bends the evacuation area from a 5-mile radius around the plant in Wisconsin with the current plan to a 10-mile radius within the new plan. A 30-mile radius is being debated on the federal level, Cote reported, but especially in the metropolitan area that triples or quadruples of the people affected. He said we feel a 10-mile radius is sufficient, and the BCEP director proclaimed. A 50-mile adjacent area for stocking plants will also be a part of a radioactive incident plan. The last area, the Lewis and Auburn area is approximately 30 miles from Wisconsin, making it possible dependent on the prevailing winds of the federal government and that the evacuation plans would be extended to this area. A local bank official said this week the passage of the tax limitation amendment in Auburn would have caused them to take a harder look at the city's financial condition and the very next time that the officials try to borrow its money. But 2 officials at the financial section questioned that the immediate effects of such a limitation on the municipality's borrowing power. Henry Bouchard, director of the Maine Municipal Bond Bank, said that the limit should not have an effect on the municipality credit rating for the first 3 or 4 years, while Keith Wilson, executive vice president of the Maine National Bank in Portland, said the limitation does not directly affect the municipality's credit rating. Both men pointed out, however, that the size of an annual increase at Auburn proposal of 2% per year, with a result of no reduction of services and not a one-time cut. Auburn voters trying to decide whether or not to limit the amount of money the city can raise from its property tax in years to come. An amendment which is voters will be casting ballots on the world. The immediate effect of rolling back the amount of $6.4 million to $5 million and would limit the future increase to 2% per year. White Lever, vice president of Northwest Bank, the institution which handles Auburn's finances, said it is
receiving the second
would estate the land of the city money from the outside if the amendment is approved. He did not say how that the bank would have controlled its service to the city, only that would take a harder look. Like the other 2 officials spoken to, Lever stressed that the importance of the good financial management as one of the key posts of the financial institution looks at when a loan is being considered, and both Wilson and Auburn and he points out have good fiscal management. The problem which the 2 outside banking officials pointed out was not the immediate $1.4 million rollback, but the 2% annual increase, which coming as a rollback. Portland Wilson pointed out that it is not possible for a town to survive with a limitation to continue to add in the level of services such as been done in the last 10 years. The percentage of growth allowed by limitation is lower than the rate of inflation, and he said services have to be cut. Wilson said that it would be very difficult for the town to survive with a 2% limit on growth. A 2% level of growth, we said, is reasonable if the municipality's goal to get back the level of services. If not a reasonable level, he said that he objected to stay even what the amount of service provided now. The bonds bank Bouchard went even a step further and said that after a certain number of years with a 2% annual increase, the city will actually run out of money. The initial $1.4 million rollback, Bouchard said it's not really a one-time cut in the services that represents the first year of a relief trend. As long as rate and the inflation surpasses the low rate of growth, inflation is 10% every year, he said. And municipalities are only allowed to grow at a rate of 2% and translate to an 8% cut in the services each year. The 2% growth he would explain would be resulting in a cut of services of nearly $1 million next year. The cuts would be continued as long as the rate of inflation remained about 2%, and at one point the city officials would have to decide whether to pay back the loans that stop plowing streets.
and holiday
The city of Auburn, Bouchard said currently is an A1 rating with Moody's. It's the third highest rating given on bond sales. Bouchard said in his personal feeling based on 20 years in the municipal work that the rating would not be immediately affected by the limitation. But he feels that the effect of the limit would be eventually catch up and make lenders questionable to the city's ability to pay back loans. Echo how Roy DeBega, a 200-pound dog with a habit of eating front doors when affected by a storm, is missing by his sheet. Should it be artist, but he looks like a lion, said Joe Schramm of Akron, owner the full-grown English Mastiff that has been missing since New Year's Day. Miss Schramm husband John owns the meat market. The dog eats 50 pounds of dried dog food a week and 8 pounds of meat a day. When it finds his range, Woodbay gets scared, but otherwise he's unflappable and no one has ever angered the dog. But no one has ever tried either. Said Miss Schramm once during the storm he chewed through a 5-glass door to escape the garage. She said during another dump where he chewed 2 panes of glass on the lead in an ornate basement and door to come upstairs. Yet, whenever not Sherlock Holmes ever existed, devoted from the part of the world have gathered here to celebrate the fictional soul's birthday. Although known to me, most of the fictional creation of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle died in a Justoco Holmesians said that they believed that not only did the detective line, but that it was born on January 6, 1854. How to name Robin today? Does a famous detective would say? Elementary. It is based on parallel and then no quote in one story. That implies that Holmes was suffering a hangover on January 7th from a birthday celebration from the night before. And not in the fact that only Shakespeare played Holmes quotes stressing in the stories of 12th night stories, which is January 6th, on the first or second Friday of each year. Devoted Holmesians were able to gather in New York to celebrate the great detective's birthday. Some 300 people held their 3 separate birthday parties Friday night at a hotel and 2 Manhattan restaurants. Alright, let's get on the weather now. Here now is Lou Manackley. Take it away, Lou. Okay, thank you, Peter. Right now, our calculations at 6 p.m. reports and Portland Jetport 24 degrees out temperature with clear skies with a dew point about 5 degrees, humidity 44% and barometer 3.01 inches and a visibility of about 20 miles. Around the region, it's 26 up in Brunswick, 24 in Augusta, 23 in Bangor, 15 out in Moosehead Lake, 21 in Holton, 18 in Caribou, 26 in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, 24 in Manchester and Concord, New Hampshire, 8 below in Mount Washington, 19 in Montreal, and 19 in Quebec City, Quebec. Alright, let's take a look at our map situation around the country. So the National Weather Service forecasted for tonight, Sunday, predicted about rain in the southeast, rain in California, Nevada, and in Utah, and snow in Wyoming, Idaho, and Oregon here. Okay, let's take a look at our forecast for Maine and New Hampshire. Clear tonight. Lows near 0 north and in the teens south. Sundays. Sunny skies, highs teens north to near 30 south. An extended outlook for Monday for Wednesday for Maine. Chance of rain south and snow change to rain north Monday. Clear Tuesday except chance of flurries north and mountains. Fair Wednesday. Tail highs in the 30s north to the low 40s south. 49 lows in the teens north to the upper 20s and low 30s south. New Hampshire chance of rain Monday. Clear Tuesday except chance of flurries in north. Fair Wednesday. Daily highs in the mid 30s to low 40s. 49 lows in the 20s to low 30s. Sunrise tomorrow morning about 7:50 a.m. Sunset tomorrow morning about 4:24 p.m. Day increased 19 minutes and Labor Day 9 hours and 9 minutes. The moon 25 days old. High tide at Portland 7:06 a.m. and 7:36 p.m. BAP 8:07 a.m. and 8:37 p.m. Wiscasset 7:27 a.m. and 7:52 p.m. Knopswell 7:01 a.m. and 7:31 p.m. East Boston Merrimack River west to northwest winds about 20-30 knots. Night diminution Sunday waves decrease to 3 to 5 feet tonight and fair weather visibility over 5 miles. And that's gonna be it for the weather. I'm Luminant Valley, and in about a few minutes Bill Green will have the sports after this little quick commercial break. Stay tuned.
Talking about Pagano, he was on the Indianapolis staff.
The best seats are going fast. The Calder Cup champions, Maine Mariners, will be taking on New Haven Saturday, January 12th, 8:05 p.m. at Civic Center. Next game, Nova Scotia Wednesday, January 16th. Cheer on the Maine Mariners.
First down. To Julius Thomas, who comes upfield for an eye right around Gilchrist.
Free energy and information. I'd like to know about your wood stove installation. Solar Energy, the best buys and installation on what fuels give you the most for your dollar. Ask us at the Community Outdoor Energy Corporation. We are an energy information service that's free to the public. At 197 Livingston Street in Lewiston at 784-7057. These ads sponsored by Acorn Products.
The camp, the Pagano camp. Brother Chuck and the Colts going down last night at New England. Well, he has survived 3 head coaches in San Diego.
The totally new Wilderness 2 February, like less than a half a weight of a trailer the same size, so like to be told by the new lower equipped guests Saving small cars, fully self-contained, have everything to make it fully livable, including the bath with a separate shower and a complete galley and plenty of room in its full-size trailer. A dynamic design, one of those two moves fast the wind rather than in the wind for easy handling and efficient towing. Driving today and see the revolutionary Wilderness 2. It's by Fleetwood, America's largest manufacturer of family camping vehicles. Come see those lightweight trailers along with our 1980 Wilderness trailers inside our heated facility with fresh beef served. Train 12 and 13th, Saturday 9 to 5 and Sunday 12 to 5 at Camper Country, Route 4, Center Street in Auburn. Okay, sports time now is Bill Green. Thank you, Peter. Tonight, the Maine Mariners will be at the Civic Center tonight, taking on the New Haven Nighthawks here. At first, skills given, please fill in to off. First power play goal, said massive Atlanta Flames forward Ken Houston after the Bruins 5-3 victory yesterday and today at the Garden. After Gilbert yelled, "Get him out of there! Get him out of there!" The first time I was fortunate enough to say when I was after that. The defenseman started putting me some pretty good shots. Then one delivered by rookie Brad McCrimmon after Mike Milburn was sent off the holding at 16:55 of the second period and Boston leading 3-2. When Flames president attacked the 5'10", 105-pound McCrimmon first wrapped the 6'3", 210 Houston in the barrel hug, then knocked him in the ass and kept him there. You have to pay a crap extra $30 to get it working over like that, said Bruins captain Trio Riley. It's typical of the Bruins effort all afternoon, and Gilbert still feeling the effects of the flu all together necessary. No one worked harder than left wing Al Secord, whose first period brief fight in Houston had the Garden fans waiting for a rematch the rest of the way. One never materialized, but for luck of willingness on Secord's part, I punched him in the face, and he should have done something inside Secord. I skated past him a few times after that, but I guess we didn't want to fight. Next time, I guess I have to give me a little more. But Houston didn't have time to worry too much about Secord. Now with the defense all over him, and every time he came near the Bruins net, it's just part of the game. I don't mind the defense being near me. He's got a job to do, and I've got a job to do. As long as it keeps his stick out of my face, it's fine. Secord, that wasn't much or anything. There wasn't enough to set a tone in one of the Bruins' most physical games in a long while. We kept the puck going forward all the time. Said Stan Jonathan, this last few games we've been playing well, but we were trying to make too many plays at the blue line. This time we dumped the puck in and it constantly stayed on them. It was a very good game for us. It was a good game for Gilbert, who turned in a very strong performance despite the weak cold illness. I was short of a breath. Said Gilbert, every time I had to go down and make 2 or 3 saves in a row. It took me quite a while to catch my breath. It was one of the longest games I've ever played. The Achievers still not quite recovered from a minor knee injury. Ricky Marco Barron bucked up Gilbert arrangement with probably being made the same for tomorrow night's rematch with the Colorado Rockies. The last time the clubs met, last time in Tuesday, Denver the Bays came from beyond to tie 2-2. The Bruins energy release remain the same, with Rain Cashman and Gary Dalton expected to return after next week. Jonathan School left wing made an intelligent play watching flight of Rittel's pass to show to precede him across the red line and thereby stay outside. Jonathan has skated to the puck west and then on the push in the west be one of the greatest goals ever scored. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, an executive committee of the Louisiana State University Board of Supervisors was to meet today to possibly hear a recommendation for a new football coach. The committee was to meet at 10 a.m. on the LSU campus as the university was expected to move quickly to find a successor to Bo Ryan. Apparently, he killed in a plane crash Friday. Most of the speculation centered on Trey Stovall, 30-year-old former Tiger great, and started defensive back with the National Football League St. Louis Cardinals. Stovall was an assistant on LSU staff for 5 years before becoming a top assistant of Tiger letter director Paul Ditzel. Tonight, the Maine Mariners will be at the Civic Center taking on the New Haven Nighthawks here. PBA Training Las Vegas, 5th place Jim Winkleback defeated Dave Hussett, Milwaukee, Oregon, 270-26. 4th place Wayne Webb, Rehoboth in Massachusetts, defeated Red Salt, 235-201. 3rd place Webb defeated Cal Shiddiff, Downey, California, 257-220. And Wayne Webb in championship match defeated Mark Buff of North Arlington, New Jersey, 278-246. Tennis Grand Prix Masters. In New York singles semifinals, Beyond Board defeated John McEnroe 6-7, 6-3, 7-6. West Cortez defeated Jimmy Carter 7-5, 6-2. Doubles final, McEnroe and Peter Fleming defeated Wojciech Fabek and Tom Alker 6-3, 7-6. And women's tourney at Cincinnati, singles semifinals, Chris Everett defeated Diane Finnold 6-1 and 6-4. And Tracy Austin defeated Billie Jean King 6-2, 6-3. And Albina Invitational to Portland, Oregon singles semifinals, Lily Churchill defeated Sam Smith 6-3, 6-0. And Bruce Manson defeated Pat DeParvis 6-2, 6-0.
It's about honesty.
I've seen a difference in you because of
And Auburn Relays in Hanover, New Hampshire, 40 meters, Brian Grams Rutgers, your winner with 48.5. In 800 meters, it's Vince Mantelli. Rutgers, your winner 1 minute 54.6 seconds. And 3,000 meters, it's Kelly of Rutgers with a winner of time of 8 minutes 3.5 seconds. 5,000 meters it was. Jim Hopkins of feet first 7th seed with a time of 14 minutes 5.2 seconds. 55 hurdles was Gene hopping the records time of 7.4. 4 mile relay is Georgetown with a time of 10 minutes 25.5 seconds. Triple jump was
Now, 3rd and 6.
Joe Asher with Boston University with a time of 49 feet and 3 inches. High jump tie between Paul Keska Dartmouth and Maya Prince of Bowdoin with a 8 feet and 10 inches. Of Mark Prince and Paul Kessler tied for the high jump. And the shot putter was Steve Sid's of records at 54 feet and 4 inches. High schools in the 60 high hurdles was Greg Gonzalez of Feldman with time of 7.8 seconds there. High jump, it was Gonzalez of Feldman began with a time of 6 feet and 10 inches. 1,000 meters is Kevin Curtin of Billwick at the time of 2 minutes 22.5 seconds. And men was Mike Wojciech of Haverhill at the time of 4 minutes 19.3 seconds. Women, light, it was number 1 is Captain McIntyre unattached with a time of 4 minutes 57.3 seconds. 5 meters, Wendy Prixa unattached with 1 minute 55.5 seconds. 800 meters, Kevin McIntyre unattached with 2 minutes 18.4 seconds. 3,000 meters, Kathy Patrick UMass with a time of 10 minutes 20.2 seconds. Jane Patrick van Bowden finished with 10.29.0. And 55 meters is covered Harris of Edify 7.0 inches. And shot put Sydney Excelsior of Subconnector at a time of 45 feet and 7 inches.